What is going on, you guys? I am back again, this time with a keyboard review. This is kind of the higher end keyboard lineup. I know I've been doing the cheaper mechanical keyboards, but I figured since I have them, I might as well do a review on them. So from the right side here, you got the Corsair K95 RGB. It is the older MX red keys. In the middle here, we got the Corsair Strafe RGB. Also Cherry MX Reds, but they're the silent keys, and I'll show you the difference. There's actually a subtle difference in the sound. And on the left here, we got the G.Skill Ripjaw KM780 mechanical keyboard. This one is also a Cherry MX Red keys. I'm guessing they're the same silent keys as the RGB. And we'll just get through it. We'll go through all the key features, and I'll show you a sound test between all of them. And hopefully we can get you guys to decide which kind of keyboard you like. We're going to start from left to right. On this side, we got the G.Skill KM780 keyboard. Like I said, this one is just the red LED. It's not the RGB. They do have an RGB version of this exact keyboard. As you can tell, it's just the regular full-size keyboard, 10-key pad on the right here. And then you got your G keys, or your macro keys, and your programmable keys up top. Kind of zoom in here. So you got 1, 2, and 3, and then you got the memory button that you have to use to program them. This is actually, what's funny is in the picture, I thought this thing holds your cell phone or something, but it actually holds all your extra keys. So if you wanted to switch out your keys, you got your keycap puller, and it just slides on the top there. I actually thought that was to hold something like your phone or whatever, but I guess you can still use it for your phone. But it holds your keys. You have your, let's see if we can get some light here. You got your Windows lock key button, your brightness key button, and a timer button. Let's see if I can. And in the software you download from G.Skill, you could program that timer button. So it doesn't really do anything now because there's really nothing you could see. And then up top here, you got your media keys. You got your stop, rewind, play, pause button, your forward button, your mute button. And what I really like about these keyboards is the scroll wheel for the volume. This one has LEDs that tell you where your volume is at. Love that feature. And then the rest of the keys are just your typical normal keyboard layout. Let's see if I can pull that key off. Get some light on. Alright. So as you can tell, it is the Cherry MX Red key. Oops. The keystrokes are, gosh, I've had mechanical keyboards for a while, so the keystrokes almost feel the same. My last keyboard was the Cherry, those the blue keys, and they were pretty loud. You can check out the other video. It's the First Player Steampunk one. That one had cherry. I keep saying cherry, but they had their own styled keys. But they were basically the equivalent of the blue keys. But yeah, that's really the basic layout of the keyboard. Up top here, let's see if I can get a good shot of it. You got pass-through USB and audio. Microphone and audio, actually. So, yeah, pass-throughs for everything there. Obviously a braided USB cable. And here's your pass-throughs. I did not hook them up because I kind of have these keyboards tethered to each other, and then your USB pass-through. They're actually, from what I read on the instruction, that's actually USB 2.0 pass-through. So, which is actually cool. I've never used pass-throughs for audio either. There is a way to, say, pass through your mouse and actually have cable management underneath it. It's a great feature if you're going to hook up your mouse. So, gosh, there's really nothing else. So if you wanted to pass through your mouse, great. Sorry. So yeah, if you wanted to pass through your mouse, you got your pass through there. In the instructions, it actually didn't tell me what that switch was for. I'm guessing it's another BIOS for different type of motherboards, because sometimes you can't get into the BIOS because of the drivers of these newer keyboards. It won't recognize it until it gets into Windows or whatever operating system you have. Alright, to move on, we are going to be looking at the Corsair Strafe RGB keyboard. This one runs around $140, depending on where you buy it, but it's around $140 to $150 range. Unfortunately, this is one I've used for a little bit. Obviously, it still has plastic on it. Hasn't been used much at all. But overall, it's a great keyboard. The quality's all there. It's the same Corsair quality you see in most keyboards. But unfortunately, with the Strafe version itself, it's not like the K series. It is a plastic frame, because as you can tell here, it is a plastic frame. It's not the aluminum frame that you get with the K series keyboard. So that's kind of where the price difference is. I'm sure you'll see it. You'll see the K90 compared to the Strafe, which the Strafe is a little cheaper because of quality differences between the two, but the Strafe still has better quality compared to competitors. But like I said, it doesn't have much for features. You have your obvious media keys up here with the F keys, and then you have your normal button for controlling the brightness and your Windows lock key. Your 10 keypad on the right here. There's no macros. It's overall, it's just a plain mechanical gaming keyboard, but does not lose its performance at all. So don't let that fool you at all. So these are the Cherry MX Reds. Let's see if I can pull that key off. Focus. There you go. Cherry MX Reds. As you can tell, each key is individually backlit. So that's what I love about these keyboards. So that's what the Cherry MX Red silent keys sound like. Compared to the G.Skill. You can tell it's a little louder, but feels the same. The keys, when you're actually playing, the keys feel exactly the same. So this one is a lot louder than the silent, so at least you know what the difference is between the silent and the silent and the regular MX Red keys. Oh, whoop! Dropped my camera there. Everything's still running. So we'll move on to the next. So last but not least, we got the Corsair K95. I know it's a little older, but it's still a great and most preferred keyboard that a lot of gamers use if they have the money. Obviously, this thing was $200 when it came out. Still is. If you look around most sites, unless you get a refurbished one, this is still a good $170, almost $200. As you can tell, the build quality is a lot different. This one is aluminum compared to the plastic build that you get with the Strafe. But the keyboard is almost the exact same layout. The keys are, you can tell the key font's a lot different compared to the Strafe. But this one has a lot more features and a lot more to offer. Oh, I forgot to mention, this does have a pass-through. Doesn't change too much, but... So on this one you have all your macro keys, a lot more than you get with the G.Skill, and the Strafe doesn't offer any, but I love the macros. These are actually, with the K95, they have actual mechanical keys. They don't use the rubber membrane in the back like they did with the older version of this keyboard. So they are Cherry MX Reds behind all the keys on this keyboard, which was a big complaint for gamers, especially when you're paying close to $200 for the old one too, and they cheaped out and put rubber membrane keys for the macros, but which they changed in this K95 version. So we'll go with, from this side to the right, you obviously got all your keys here, your macro keys, your same memory keys for the macro keys. You can program them on the fly. You got your pass-through up top, and there's a switch up here that actually has 4 different settings for BIOS depending on your motherboard. Like I said, some of these keyboards do not let you get into the BIOS because of the software on it, so they have different BIOS for that reason. Then you got your brightness button as well, your Windows lock key, your mute button here, and what I like the most is the scrolling volume wheel. I love that button. So you have also up here you have your stop, rewind, play, forward button, just like the G.Skill, but not on the Strafe. So this keyboard offers everything that you would want in a gaming keyboard. So overall, the K95 has been my favorite keyboard that I've owned, because it has everything you need. It doesn't have like a heads-up display like the Logitech ones, or not too sure, Mad Catz. They have the little pop-up screen. This one does not offer that feature. But overall, like I said, this one is a Cherry MX Red keyboard. Focus. Nope. I can't get it to focus. Oh, there you go. Cherry MX Reds. Oh, there you go. So overall, that is what the keyboard really has to offer. There's more you can do with programming it, but that's all on you, on how you want the keyboard programmed. Obviously, I program mine differently. And we'll kind of do a sound test really quick here. With the G.Skill, this is just the arrow keys. We're going to do a sound test because the keys are all the same all the way around. So when most people are gaming, you aren't sitting here going. You are more than likely going to be pounding the keys. I understand that they're not meant to bottom out, and that's actually what makes the most noise, is when you're pounding the keys in. So I'll do both. So there's no audible click on some. Like I know some of the old, like blues and browns, you could actually hear the click. The reds, you cannot. We'll move on to the Corsair Strafe. This one is the Cherry MX Red Silence. So, normal presses. You could tell this one is a lot more quiet than the others. And so even when I'm actually hitting the keys fairly hard, they're still not that loud. And last but not least, the K95. The K95 almost sounds like the G.Skill one because they are the other version of the Cherry MX Reds. They're not the Silence. So that is the different sound levels of each keyboard. Obviously, the Corsair Strafe does come with the Cherry MX Silence, so obviously the sound differences between the three. This one is the quietest, but overall, each keyboard is your own preference. Obviously, a lot of people are going to like this because it's just basic. Depending on who you are, you want the macros. This one offers both the macros, media keys, and everything else for a lot cheaper. So obviously I can't give you a real solid review. I can give you an initial review, because who knows, maybe the build quality in this is terrible, and in a month later all the lights go off and some of your keys aren't working. I can't tell you that. That's what I don't like. That's what I don't like about some reviews, where they just unpackage it and they're like, "Oh, it's great," and they give you a full story of how great it is. But the thing is, you can't, because you haven't used it. So how can you give a great review if you haven't even used the keyboard? So this is just kind of an initial review of what the quality of the keyboards offer. I'm not going to say this one's greater than that one, because who knows. Actually, I could tell you this one's been around for a while, so it's still working. So the K95 is still working. It's great. It's still solid. None of the keys are dead. So these two, I'm going to be using this one at work. This one is a spare, so we'll see. But overall, the keyboards, the quality, layout for everything is on point and is exactly what you'd be looking for in that price range. So like I said, this is the cheapest one, medium, your most expensive one. So, if you have questions, you want to know more about the keyboards, let me know down in the comments down below. If you want more tech reviews, like and subscribe. My next video is actually going to be a mouse review. I have the Corsair M65 Pro RGB and the Scimitar. It's the Scimitar RGB. This one is the version that has the black siding. I know some of the older ones come with that yellow. So that will be my next video. And like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you guys decide what kind of keyboard you guys are looking for. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.